Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Another tips and tricks video for you today. Over the past few months, we've seen a lot of people jumping on the options contract game, getting ridiculous gains and losses with the rise of popularity of some online forums and discussion boards. A lot of people might be feeling a little FOMO, want to get on the game, try to get some of that money, but do be warned, there are a couple things that you should know before getting into it. In this video, I'm going to go over some of the things Robinhood offers for options contracts and things that you should be aware of when trading contracts on Robinhood specifically. It's a pretty widely used brokerage app. They're known for having a very user-intuitive, easy-to-use interface. They have no commission fees on stock trading or options trading, and it's free to use, free to download. A lot of people use it. Before we start and before we get into this, I try to say this before most of my videos, just be careful with your money. Only risk what you're willing to lose. Make sure you have a safety net, you have your emergency fund set aside already, especially in these crazy times. Don't really know what's gonna happen. Job, security, other things like that. So just wanna make sure you're being safe out there. I'm not your financial advisor. Please don't take any of this as financial advice. Just going off of what I've seen, my experiences using the app, and be sure to reach out to a professional if you have any complicated questions or questions specific to you. So this is where I'm going to start today. You've downloaded the app, you're getting onto Robinhood, so now what? You want to trade options. Before we start, kind of want to go through how to enable it. If you go on the app, it's not going to be enabled right off the bat. You have to go into the settings, enable the option to trade options, and before it'll let you do that, you do have to answer a couple questions about your risk tolerance, your investment history, your experience, just some standard questions that are asked by all brokerages, mandated to make sure that you're ready to have access to trade these options contracts. Now, the first thing you want to be aware of is that it does take time for you to fully fund and get money from the bank into your Robinhood account. If you're using ACH or wire transfer, this can take up to 5 business days and you won't have this money ready to use in your account. Robinhood will give you access to about $1,000 of instant deposit that you can use, but this money can only be used to trade and sell stocks, not option contracts. So if you do want to start trading options, you will have to wait a couple days before before that money will clear into your account. So keep that in mind. The second thing comes after you get your money initially. You'll also have access to margin that you can use. If you're a free basic user, you can get up to $1,000 in margin. If you have the premium Robinhood Gold account, you can get more than that. But using margin is basically borrowing money from Robinhood to use to trade. You do get interest free on the first $1,000. After that, you do incur interest, and this occurs daily. Just a word of caution for new traders using the app. This might seem really quick and easy for you to just get instant money to use to trade, but do be careful, especially when using this money to trade options contracts and riskier investments, because unlike stocks, the volatility is crazy high on these, and it's easy to get away from it, to forget that this actually isn't your money. You're borrowing money from Robinhood to trade. And if you lose all that money on an investment, you still owe this money to Robinhood. I use stocks as an example. If you buy a stock worth $100, it goes down to $80. It's still worth $80. You can sell 20% loss. But options contracts, it's more likely, and they do go to zero. They can't expire worthless. You have a $100 option contract, you're unable to sell it, you hold it, you keep on thinking the market's gonna favor you and your position. It doesn't, and the contract ends up being $0 or close to worthless. And if you are using margin to make these trades, you owe Robinhood this money. So if you're unable to deposit new money, get a margin call, they might have to liquidate your account, sell everything off just to pay them back. And the third thing you should be aware of is the day trade limit. This is a rule placed by the SEC and federal authorities across all brokerage accounts. It's not just specific to Robinhood. So if you get this warning and you're frequently trading stocks or other options and equities, don't be frustrated at Robinhood. This is not their rule. This is federally mandated. If you make more than 4 day trades in a span of 5 business days, you will be marked as a pattern day trader, and this will block your account from making any more day trades in a certain period of time. There are a couple ways to get around this. The first stipulation is that if your account has more than $25,000 in it, this rule does not apply. You can day trade stocks, option contracts as much as you want. The second, you could theoretically open up another brokerage account on a different platform with a different broker, but you will still be subject to 3 or 4 day trades. So once you max those out, you're not able to use that account as well. If you do want to day trade and profit off of volatility intraday trades, buying and selling stocks, buying and selling or flipping options contracts, you would have to have that $25,000 in your account or have your account be worth at least that much. Now, this fourth thing that you should be aware of when using Robinhood to sell or trade options is that Robinhood does not let you submit market orders for any options trades. Now, this is a good thing. This is good for the user, especially for beginners, because a market order on something as volatile as a contract, especially if those options contracts have low volume and very high bid-ask spreads, if you place a market order on that, it will fill at whatever the market price currently is. Now, this may result in you buying a lot of contracts for more than it's actually worth or selling it off for less than it's worth, losing you a lot of money. Robinhood does not let you do that. You have to enter a limit price, which is a price that you're comfortable with paying for or selling an options contract for. This helps you out as the user, and a lot of people do recommend using this just so you're not getting screwed out of any money. Going off of that, another feature that a lot of these brokers and Robinhood has is a stop loss order. So if you have a certain risk appetite, your risk tolerance for a loss is pretty low, you can set an amount that if the value of it goes under, it'll sell it automatically. And once again, with this, you have to put in a limit price, which it will try to sell it at. So this is also a good way if you don't want to check your account every hour, every 20 minutes, to set an amount you're willing to lose and then be comfortable that it won't go any lower or much further than that limit price on the stop order. Now, the fifth and final thing has to do with contract values and how they display in your account. This is specific to Robinhood. I'm going to base this off of my experience using Robinhood, and this may or may not be similar across other brokerages, but a lot of people I've seen lately freak out and panic when their contract values go down to 1 cent a piece. If you're holding on to a lot of contracts, this may be very scary if your account suddenly goes from $10,000 to $2,000 for no particular reason. Back a couple weeks ago when we were having circuit breakers pretty much weekly, this would happen and a lot of people would freak out. But don't panic, this is just a result of the market halting trading and those contract values dropping to 1 cent because the markets have stopped trading, and this is just the value that the app shows. Once the market opens up after that 15-minute trading halt, the contract values should go back to normal. I do want to add on to this, talking about the value of the option contract as it's displayed in your account. Robinhood does its best to try to reflect your account value and your total balance as accurately as possible. But since the volatility with options contracts are so high and the market volatility right now is through the roof, these prices may not necessarily reflect the price that you can actually buy or sell an options contract for. For example, a couple weeks ago, I was holding on to a Tesla option way out of the money, but it was showing that it was worth over $800, when in reality, I probably couldn't even sell this off for $1. This is because there was very little volume on this specific trade. No one was looking at it, but some person, for some reason, was trying to sell it for over $1,000. So Robinhood's looking at the spread. We have no one trying to buy it, zero interest in it, but one person trying to sell it for $1,000. They try to make a valuation somewhere in between, and this can throw off the numbers just a bit. And another thing that could cause your contract values to go down to 1 cent is if the individual stock halts trading. For example, MGM and Blue Apron had this happen pretty often to them a couple weeks ago, where their trading was being halted, it seems like every 20 minutes. Trading on specific stocks can halt for a variety of reasons, but if this does happen, the value of any options contracts you have related to these stocks will drop down to 1 cent as long as that halt is in place. You'll notice this because the stock's value will just stay constant, it won't move. And once trading resumes on that particular stock, the options price will go back to normal. And one thing I just want to leave you off with is with the valuation of these contracts. On days where volatility is really high, especially pre-market, when the market's opening down 5% or up 5% at a crazy extreme, contract values will be insane the first couple minutes after market opens. So be careful of that. Don't get too excited if you think you're up 1,000% right at the beginning. It will drop eventually. Don't be too hard on yourself if your account has crashed and it seems like all hope is lost. Give it a little time. Now, this is just a couple tips I had, some things I noticed while using Robinhood specifically for trading options. If you found this video helpful, give this a like. If you have any other questions or comments, be sure to leave them down in the comment section below. Stay subscribed for more content. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your time. Peace out.